Welcome back to another video on the channel. We have 4 women left standing in the 2021 Australian Open. We have 3 brilliant matches in prospect, which will top off what has been a fantastic event, and again another brilliant advert for women's tennis. So I'm just going to look back quickly on the quarterfinals and preview and predict the semis. Kicking off with Naomi Osaka, who claimed a straight sets win in the quarters against Shea. As expected, I did think Osaka was a heavy favourite on a fast hard court, and she would overpower and hit too clean in return and serve too well for Shea, which did prove to be the case. I think Shea tried to stick with Osaka and she had a brilliant tournament. Reaching her first ever Grand Slam quarterfinal of 35 is a remarkable achievement, and she can be proud of her efforts over the past week or so. But I think when Osaka stepped it up in the return and nailed the ground stroke, she just had too much power for Shea, which I think many people did predict. Osaka still isn't serving well, which is a slight worry, and I'll talk about the importance of that, of putting that right against Serena later on in the video. Moving on to Serena against Halep, and Serena Williams was just so impressive. Her best match of the tournament so far by a long way. I favoured it to break through the defence of Halep on a fast hard court and really attack that Halep second serve, which went as expected. I think the match turned out pretty much how I thought it would. Williams didn't serve at her best, but other than that, she was about as good as I've seen Serena Williams play for a good number of years. I thought the return in particular, as I mentioned, was exceptional and put Halep immediately on the back foot in every service game. The double-handed backhand created some great angles and was just too good for Halep on occasions. Even for one of the best defensive players in the world, Halep still couldn't return some of the Serena ground strokes that were just that good and powerful. I think the forehand of Serena does need cleaning up slightly, but at times looked devastating. Her movement, her fitness and defence looked very good, fighting to win points. And although she did play a couple of poor service games in set 2, I think some of those misses were classed as good misses. So she was trying to hit the right shot but just missing marginally, which is better than, completely running out of ideas and shanking balls. She returned perfectly throughout, and she was always a threat in the Halep service games, and she closed it out in straight sets in the end. A huge confidence boost and win against the number 2 player in the world, who can give anyone a brilliant match on the day. Now, looking at predicting a winner for Osaka Williams, this is a complete 50-50, and I was thinking about this match a lot last night and tossed and turned of who I thought would win the match. I think the 2 key things that will decide this match are the first serve percentage and whoever wins the opening set. These 2 players, Serena and Osaka, are 2 of the best servers on the WTA, but I don't think either have found the best and the most consistent serving yet in this tournament, particularly Osaka, but it shows how well the rest of the game is going when both of them have reached a semi-final stage pretty much unscathed. The first set is huge in the semi-final anyway, doesn't matter who's playing, but both of these players are huge ball strikers, so whoever takes the opening set, they will have a little bit more license to swing freely, and they could possibly run away with the second set as well and close the match out. So I think whoever wins the opening set in this one will probably take the match as well. If you asked me pre-tournament who I thought would win in a match between Osaka and Serena on a fast hard court, I'd have certainly picked Osaka, but I think Serena has probably played the better tennis so far in this event. I think she's faced better opposition than Osaka, and arrives in this match on the back of a tournament best performance and a huge win against, as I say, number 2 ranked Simona Halep. Although I think Osaka is a player that saves her best tennis for the back end of tournaments, as she's done in the 3 Grand Slams that she's won. Some of the tennis that Osaka has produced in the past few years has just been devastatingly good, relentless power. And when she's on it, I don't think anyone in the world can beat her. We saw glimpses of it against Muguruza at the back end of that 3rd set when she really required it. She turned it on and just blew Muguruza off the court, and that's what Osaka can do. But it's just about her putting it all together in one single performance. Osaka is experienced for her age. She's still very young, and obviously Serena's a lot older. But Osaka's beaten Serena in a Grand Slam final, and that's about as big as it gets. And because Osaka was my pre-tournament pick, I'm going to stick with it to win this one in straight sets. As I say, I do think it's a 50-50, and I think the first set is massive. If Serena performs like she did against Halep, she has a serious chance of winning this one as well. And Osaka has to improve in her performances that she's shown so far in this tournament, and most importantly serve better. But I think Serena will bring the best out of her, and we'll see a fantastic performance from Naomi Osaka. But this is just a tantalising match, and when you look at the draw at the start of the tournament, the eyes immediately look at when does Serena face Osaka, in my opinion. I think Osaka is the number one player in the world. Serena's obviously always a huge player in any draw, but particularly on the hard court at the US and the Australian. And we've got the matchup that I think everybody wanted. And a repeat of that 2018 US Open final. Can Williams get a revenge, or will it be a repeat result in Osaka win? Just can't wait to find out. I am going to, as I say, go with Osaka because she was my pre-tournament pick and I expected to produce the best in a match of this magnitude. But I think as a fan, you're just best off sitting, watching it and enjoying what will be a brilliant match. Moving on now to a semi-final that a lot of people probably didn't predict. Carolina Muchova against Jennifer Brady. Muchova's had to come back from the depths of defeat a few times at this event and did again last night against the world number one Ashley Barty. She was 6-1, 2-love down in the second set. She'd made one error and 18 unforced errors at that point, but Muchova, to her absolute credit, she found some inspired tennis from somewhere and eventually took the match 1-6, 6-3, 6-2. The long, mentally tough matches may catch up on Muchova, but it also shows that she can overcome adversity in matches and problem solve and won't give up no matter what the score. So it always makes her a danger. Even if she's just setting a break down to Brady, she'll still be confident and have the belief that she can turn it round. The first set last night against Barty was just littered with errors. Certainly wasn't the Muchova I expected to turn up. The forehand, the backhand at the net, nothing really went right, and it was a very scrappy and poor performance from Muchova, which is not what you expect from such a clean ball striker and a player that's as technically good as Muchova is. Barty lost control in the set two and unravelled quickly, and I think the reason Barty didn't really fight back and couldn't seem to get going again was the fact that she hasn't played much competitive tennis in the last 12 months. And I think she really struggled to deal with that momentum shift in set two and wasn't able to recompose and find any good solid tennis again in the match. Muchova got control and ran away with it to her credit. Blew Barty apart in that decider, played the big points better, served well in set three in particular, which was key, and got a massive win to reach her first ever Grand Slam semi-final. Moving on to Jennifer Brady, and I'm not surprised one bit that Jennifer Brady's reached the semi-finals. I think I've talked about her a few times this channel. I always think she goes under the radar in tournaments, and she won in Cincinnati last year, made a good run at the US Open, and I felt coming in that a quick hard court was going to play to the absolute strengths of Jennifer Brady, who just possesses a huge first serve, brilliant forehand and backhand, always looks to be aggressive, attack inside the baseline, and if you can execute that sort of game style, then you're always going to be a huge player in Australia, but particularly this year when the courts are playing as fast as they are. Last night's match against Jessica Pegula, in the quarterfinals was a good battle, and I think a good test for Brady that she came through. Pegula took the opening set, and I thought Brady didn't quite hit the straps early on. She made too many unforced errors, and she perhaps tried to win the points too quickly and blow Pegula off the court. But I think in the second and third set, when Brady began to serve better, she was aggressive on the ground stroke. She started to hit the lines, break through the defences of Pegula. She sort of found that confidence and got into that rhythm. And when she's at her relentless best, she again, similar to Osaka, is capable of blowing anybody off the court. And I think Pegula's had a fantastic tournament. She can certainly learn and improve and come again. But I think overall last night, Brady, as I mentioned, was just suited to the faster hard courts and possessed the bigger ground strokes and was able to finish off points. So looking again at previewing and predicting this semi-final, it's a tough one. Muchova has done an incredible job to reach this stage. She's beat former Grand Slam champions Ostapenko and Ashley Barty. She's also beaten Karolina Pliskova and Elise Mertens on the way. So they're four fantastic players. To come through all them and again back from difficult positions, she's had to problem solve, overcome adversity, come back from behind, use all the variations in the game, and to get to the semi-final, as I say, she's done an amazing job. Her all-round game and ability at the net makes her hard to beat, but she can make a lot of unforced errors and gift games and sets away and start matches slowly. But I think to win a Grand Slam semi-final, she will have to find that consistency first serve and use all of her variations. No doubt she's got the weapons to win. She's shown that throughout this tournament at times, but can she do it over a complete match against Jennifer Brady? I'm not so sure. I think because Muchova's been behind so many times in matches, and the fact that she's had to play a lot of tennis and overcome a lot of mental battles as well. I'm sure it's been tough mentally to come back and win those matches. I am going to slightly edge towards Brady, who I think's had a smoother route through to the semi-final, and I think Brady, as I mentioned a few times in this video now, I think she's perfectly suited to these courts, and if she can execute her game style, then I think she might just have too much firepower and consistency for Muchova. But the importance for Muchova is certainly to use all of the variations that she's got, the drop shot, the slice, and try and upset the rhythm of Brady, not allow her into the baseline and teeing off on the forehand and backhand. But I am going to predict Brady to come through in 3 sets. I think Brady might start off and win the opener. Muchova might get back on track and attempt to decide her, and Brady will have too much firepower in the third. But that's probably too much of a precise prediction, but that's what I'm going to go for. Brady in 3, and I think we'll have an Osaka against Brady final, which would be a fantastic match with plenty of winners and aces, I'm sure. But yeah, it's been a fantastic women's tournament so far. We've got 2 brilliant semi-finals on paper, particularly the Williams against Osaka one, but Brady and Muchova I'm sure will deliver as well. So please leave your comments of who you think will win the semi-finals in the comment section below. Like the video if you have enjoyed it, and if you could leave a subscription on the channel as well, it is much appreciated, as I will be bringing a lot more tennis content throughout the year. So thanks for watching again, and I will see you on the next video.